We have at large now become a society where we disagree on anything and everything, and we don't hesitate to express it as well, but it's usually done in a way that's very disrespectful and offensive. How can we do this in a better way, especially as a healthcare professional, when we're working with the most vulnerable members of our society, aka our patients? Stay tuned for this video to learn more about it. What is up, everyone? This is Shweta from Healthy Dynamics. I'm the founder of this coaching practice where we really train and coach healthcare professionals from non-English speaking backgrounds improve their language and communication skills in order to stand out in the workplace as a person of excellence, and also build a better, meaningful and more constructive and intimate relationship with their patients based on trust and credibility. So as you can see here, on the day of spring, I am just behind a tennis court, or in front of a tennis court rather, on a day where it's a little bit of sunshine, and it is in a place where I am dog sitting currently. You would have actually seen this particular dog, Pepper, in one of my former videos. That's where I am. I'm not in the house, I'm just where the tennis courts are. Anyway, so I got thinking quite significantly about this topic of disagreements and conflict. Now, these are inevitable in our society, in every walk of life, not just healthcare, but anywhere you can think of. We're not going to agree and align with every single person, and conflicts are inevitable. Unfortunately, what we have now become as a society, thanks to social media, is that we very easily express our disagreement. And that is usually based on something that's pretty arbitrary. But we don't know how to do it in a constructive way that is not going to upset or offending anybody. And at the same time, is backed up by evidence and facts, as opposed to just saying, I'm offended or I'm upset. So I'm going to specifically focus this on our interactions with patients in this particular video, and then moving forward I will look at it in the broader space of the healthcare workplace as a healthcare professional. So that will be a part 2 or a part 3. Now, I remember I used to do part 1, 2 and 3 early on when I first started making videos for this channel, and I have decided to actually continue with that because I have just realized that 20-minute videos are probably too long and people are really not going to be watching the whole thing. So again, I'm going to dissect it into 2 or 3 different parts and record it and send it through week by week anyway. But we will get started today on the specific topic of why we tend to be in a situation of where we have disagreements and conflicts with our patients. So there are 3 main reasons why this can happen. The number one is that there is simply a difference of opinion. Now, we all know that everyone is entitled to having an opinion, and an opinion is something that everyone has the right to have. However, it is important that we distinguish as healthcare professionals and individuals whether we're speaking from a place of opinion or versus fact. So, as an example, I can think of my mother-in-law as an example over here. So, she is someone who has been a heavy smoker since the age of 30, and she's 73 now. So, you're looking at about 6 decades of being a heavy smoker. And whenever her GP, and I have been with her to some of her GP appointments, whenever she speaks to her GP about her health condition, and he does end up telling her that it's best for her to quit smoking, she becomes very defensive about it, and also she starts to challenge him. She normally says that, how a lot of people she knows have lived up until the age of 80, 90, even 100, and they have been heavy smokers. And even though she lost her own husband to lung cancer many years ago, she still stands by that fact that smoking is really not doing her any harm, and it's going to keep her going for however long she's meant to be here for. But that might be an opinion, and that might be something that she has experienced, but it doesn't change the fact that smoking is harmful for people's health in more ways than one. And that is where I think, even though you might be having this particular clash with the patient about this issue, you can still distinguish at this point, because we're having a disagreement based on not the fact that smoking is harmful, but the fact that she believes that smoking is not going to shorten her life. Whereas we all know that it has happened time and time again, and it's a fact, not an opinion, that it does affect people's quality of life and inevitably shorten it with due course of time. So difference of opinion is a main reason why people tend to get into conflicts and disagreements with their patients. That's number one. Number two is that either the patient or the healthcare provider's moral and ethical principles can be in jeopardy. Now, there are two examples here that I can think of. So when we're talking about the moral side of things, and I have mentioned this in the past in the context of patient autonomy, a lot of the times patients want to be in control of how they want to get treated, what sort of advice they want to receive. They want the healthcare provider to work with them collaboratively, not just didactically telling them that this is what they should be doing because that's what a textbook tells them. So they're looking for support and they're looking for validation. They're not looking for someone who is just going to shove their views down a patient's throat. That's one of the main reasons. And I have spoken about this in the context specifically of when patients, female patients in particular, want to get examined in their pelvic area for when they're showing symptoms of possible adenomyosis, fibrosis, or even endometriosis, and also when they're choosing to get sterilized because they want to be in control of what happens to their body, and if there is a condition that they might be facing with, they want to have it diagnosed and treated immediately rather than suffer with it for the rest of their life. However, what can happen is that the healthcare provider may have reasons for them to not approve or authorize this particular procedure for numerous reasons that go behind it. If you'd like to know more about that, just watch some of my previous videos. So that's one angle of it. The other angle is that a lot of patients might actually not fully believe in conventional medicine. So a lot of the practices that is, especially if you're relying more on the pharmaceutical side of things, that there's a really big focus on there's a pill for everything, that it's going to just fix you and cure you permanently. We all know that that's not 100% true. It's just there to manage the conditions. Some people are completely against it. They're just completely against any form or most forms of conventional medicine. And also some people might have principles that are aligning very well with veganism. So that's just another example where when you're sort of trying to work with a patient on how they can get to have a better quality of life. So if you're somebody who is, say, a nutritionist and is telling their patients to incorporate some protein-rich foods that may be animal-based into their diet, and if the patient is a staunch vegan, they're not going to be happy with that. So that again leads to a big conflict, and they would probably challenge you and tell you that I want something that is going to be, I'm happy to take on if it's protein-rich, I just don't want to consume any animal products. So that could be another reason why you might be ending up in conflicts and disagreements with your patient. So that's number two. Number three, and I have mentioned this many times in our past videos, we as healthcare professionals can inadvertently let our long-held preconceived biases get in the way when we are interacting with our patients. Now again, I'm not going to repeat what I did in my previous videos, and where I've talked about how healthcare professionals tend to gaslight patients and also not really work in congruence with them when they're trying to sort of give them the best treatment or those options, or even in terms of diagnosing them for their conditions. So that's one of the reasons. But also on the flip side, we are now living in an age where there is an abundance of information on the internet, not just in the space of healthcare, but everywhere. And while that's problematic in and of itself, because a lot of the sources on the internet are not 100% reliable or accurate, and that can lead to patients really self-diagnosing or self-medicating. And whilst that is never ever okay, that can also be a huge reason why, even though there's not a bias as such, that can be a huge reason why we can really go into loggerheads with our patients in many instances. But a huge reason is because that we have a lot of preconceived biases that have come from our personal conditioning, our personal experiences in the past, and also what we see have done in our studies, and also what the media exposes to us. So that is why that can really be a deterrent in helping in sort of stopping us from really navigating through any kind of conflict or disagreement, or having it in the first place. I'm just going to finish off this video now just highlighting why we as healthcare professionals may hesitate to speak our mind during disagreements with our patients. And this could be for three main reasons. Number one is because we may be conditioned to really keep our peace with whether it's in a family environment or in the workplace or anywhere, and we may be conditioned to avoid conflict or any form of confrontation, because that means that your reputation and it can be jeopardized, and you can be seen as someone who is out seeking trouble. And you may be raised in a household where that may be the norm, that you're never supposed to defy anything, you're never supposed to cause any conflict, you're never supposed to speak your mind, because it's going to upset a lot of people. So that could be a main reason why we may hesitate to express our disagreements as healthcare professionals. The other reason is because we may not want to lose our patient or have our reputation jeopardized. We just sort of give the patient what they want. You're just trying to please them. You're just trying to make them happy. You just give them what they want. But the question remains, is it always okay? Is it going to be safe? Is it going to be sustainable? Is it going to be in the patient's best interest? I mean, you realize that you're not here to please anybody. You're not making candy. You're not making anything that's going to make everyone happy. You're here to diagnose and treat your patient and give them the best care possible. Sometimes, and in many instances, that's not what they may want, but it's probably what they really need. So, but at the same time, you don't want to lose that particular patient, and you don't want that patient to tell everyone that I will no longer be working with this healthcare professional for X, Y, and Z reasons, and they may choose not to do it for the same reasons. Now, the third one can be quite valid in many ways. So you may be in a position where you don't want to express your disagreement immediately, but you will do so upon keeping an open mind, looking at all the possible angles and perspectives of the challenge, and explore alternatives, sometimes on your own or with your patient, and checking our biases at the door. Am I saying this from a place of bias or my own preconceived judgment? And work collaboratively with the patient. So even though you may not say something immediately, you will subsequently bring it up with your patient when you have enough evidence, when you have explored all avenues and possibilities, and also when you're doing so from a place of when you're completely unbiased. So I'm going to wrap this video up with just this for today. So far we have looked at the reasons why we may possibly have disagreements with our patients, and also why we may hesitate to speak up as healthcare professionals when we are having that particular disagreement. So next video onwards, we will talk about how we can navigate through these disagreements and conflicts with our patients in a healthy, respectful, and constructive manner, and it's not going to offend or upset them, and at the same time they will probably respect you for actually being truthful and honest at the same time. And also you might still have the credibility and trust that you always deserve. So that will be for the forthcoming video on this video series. So thank you very much for watching. Once again, just a reminder of who I am. My name is Shweta. I'm the founder of Healthy Dynamics. We are a coaching practice that helps healthcare professionals from non-English speaking backgrounds improve their language and communication skills in order to build better relationships with their patients and stand out in the workplace as a person of excellence. Make sure to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell if you want to know when the next coming videos and updates are coming up. Thank you very much for your attention, and I will see you same time next week.